After finally escaping an onerous contract with their publisher, which kept the number of their titles capped at less than a dozen, Marvel in 1968 massively expanded their title lineup. One of those books leading the charge was Captain America, which took over Tales of Suspense in April of 1968. After sharing Tales of Suspense with Iron Man for about 3.5 years and some 42 issues, Cap took over with a title change. Keeping the legacy issue number, Captain America began a new era, finally putting one of the world's oldest and most famous superheroes back in his own magazine at last. And so here's my personal copy of Captain America 100, which I am going to be discussing in this video. It's probably around 7.5 copy. It's got brilliant bright colors on the front cover, especially shown in Cap's boots down there at the bottom. You know, I always wondered why they made Giant Man orange, but you know, now I understand. I can, now that I'm looking at it, I know why. It's because you've got his boots, you've got Thor's cape, and you'd also have this giant red figure all kind of clumped together, and it would just look like a mishmash. The color on the inside is really off register in places, and I'm kind of curious if this is indicative of this particular issue, or this is or if it's just my copy. This Monster Unmasked is the final chapter of a 3-part story that began in Tales to Astonish 98, but it works just as well as a standalone story too. Stan Lee, perhaps feeling inspired by what's essentially a new flagship title for Marvel, starts off this issue with a retelling of the discovery of Captain America, which was first presented in Avengers 4. A figure is seen frozen in a block of ice being worshipped by Inuits. The Submariner shows up, announces himself and his desire for vengeance upon all humankind. Submariner hurls the frozen figure into the Atlantic Ocean. The block of ice floats down towards the Gulf Stream and slowly starts to melt. Meanwhile, the Avengers in their submarine, who are ironically searching for the Submariner, whom we just saw on the last page, they bring the figure inside, and Cap awakens thinking of Bucky dying in an explosion of Baron Zemo's making. Then suddenly, we arrive in the story's present time. Black Panther leans over Cap, telling him to wake up, that they're about to be shot by Irma Cruel, who's been egged on by none other than Baron Zemo himself. So stepping out a bit, all within 4 pages, we hurl from the indigenous community somewhere close to Newfoundland, we figure, based on the information given in Avengers 4, into the Atlantic Ocean itself, into the Avengers submarine, then forward in time to Baron Zemo's bunker. Just quick, efficient, dramatic storytelling. Irma Cruel shoots at Cap but misses, and Cap senses that she missed intentionally. Cruel says, "Save them for later," and Zemo agrees, as she presents him with the locations for all missile bases on Earth. Zemo shows Cruel the control panel for his death ray and its force field. He pridefully gloats over his accomplishment. But pro tip, guys, if you feel certain about anything in your life, if you feel absolutely certain, then you're probably high on dopamine and it's time to take a break before making any hasty decisions. And Zemo quickly learns this life lesson when Irma transforms her case into a flamethrower, incinerating Zemo's control panel in grand fashion. Cruel proclaims she'd die to save the world from a madman like Zemo as Captain America springs into action. Cruel saves Cap's life a second time, and upon doing so, her costume slips away, revealing that she's Agent 13, aka Sharon Carter, although her name's not mentioned in the story. She blasts Zemo's communicator as he's calling for reinforcements. So Cap, Black Panther, and Agent 13 fight for their lives as they're being squeezed out corridor after corridor until they run into Baron Zemo's ultimate bodyguard, the Destructon. Our heroes fight the Destructon, but to little effect until Cap discovers controls on the behemoth which disable it completely. When Zemo and his army catch up with our heroes, Cap exposes Baron Zemo to be a fraud, some rando pretending to be Baron Zemo who just happened upon his papers and I guess his outfit, thus fulfilling the promise of the story's title. Zemo's men, realizing they've been had, kill him instantly. Black Panther unmasks himself, giving a speech stating his Wakandan warriors have surrounded the bunker. He asks for their surrender, promising them a fair trial. They do so, piling up their weapons. We finish off our story with Nick Fury and Dum Dum making a surprise cameo. They destroy Zemo's orbiting ray by launching missiles at it, and T'Challa fly Cap and Agent 13 home. Sly quips, smug puns made at the expense of one's enemies, so common in Bond films of that era, and certainly in later-day action films, are completely absent here. From Captain America to Black Panther to Agent 13 and everyone in between, there is a heartfelt earnestness that is expressed through every major character. Only Zemo's grunts at the very end express anything that could be considered remotely lighthearted. Captain America, Black Panther, and Agent 13 each take a moment to proclaim their devotion to freedom's cause, and that they're willing to die for it. For them, give me liberty or give me death is not a cliche. It's orthodoxy. There's a confidence, a certainty with their mission that vacates any feeling of fear or doubt and defines their essence. Regardless of the dire circumstances our heroes face, on almost every page there's a stalwart optimism that emboldens them. Each declare their belief at one time or another that no matter how dire the odds, they will find a way to overcome them. Defeatism, which permeates so much of modern culture, is completely absent here. Instead, we see principled men and one particular woman fight valiantly to save the world, each ready to sacrifice themselves should it prove necessary. Certainty and ownership is attractive in a man or a woman in an uncertain world. That's leadership, and it's on full display here. Zemo, Agent 13, and Black Panther are all unmasked in the story. Potential executioner is revealed to be a loyal friend. Would-be world conqueror is revealed to be a poser. The superhero is revealed to be a merciful, strong leader of a great nation. For Captain America, it's the reverse. He starts the story unmasked as Steve Rogers, vulnerable, frozen, in shock over the loss of his friend. Moving forward, we see him some 4 years later facing the villain that killed Bucky, perhaps bowed but not broken, and not seething with vengeance, but determined to win.